last year in NXT, again, I was all for the, everything changing because we've talked about the reasons why, because AEW starting and that style and everything is sort of time to change. And if that's a certain style that you want, then let's get the people who want to work hard at this.
Right.
There was a point last year where one of the ladies who always asks questions and always tries to get better came up to myself, Samoa Joe, and Fit Finley, who were all sat at a table talking to each other. And everybody had their. I looked round and she said, "Why don't you go and instill some wisdom into somebody, to the three of us?" And I said, "I don't want to interrupt the phone time." So,
It's all about
and
priorities,
right,
priorities.
it's
Yeah.
about priorities of you're getting paid to get better at your
A
job.
job.
Perhaps you should be getting better at your job, not trying to read about how good you are, or leave that till you get back to your room that night. If you're that bothered about trying to get yourself over. Now, here's my little rant out the way, because I am open-minded and I am not like an old wrestler, and I do not want to go back to that. But you've still got to put the time in to get there, right? There's a group of us at the moment we all started off with that. We started off. It is a real thing with us. This is a real thing, right? We want people, everybody there has worked hard to get to where they're at in their own ways. You should put that time in, and it doesn't matter what style you do. It's got nothing to do with doing the same style as anybody in the group, right? The Young Bucks, I'm going to use them as a perfect example. You've heard me talk about how much I like those lads. They, in their particular style, and they do many styles, that people knock them for doing whatever they do. I've seen them do all kinds of stuff because I watch. I don't just, and whatever they do works. They have made names for themselves. They've starved and they've struggled and they've gone round and made a name. And I'm not just saying that now because I work with them. I've said this long before. You want to go and look, there's enough stuff on record of me saying good stuff about them. They went out and found their bit of this world and made it, right? If you think you're just going to cut, but they did everything they have to. They've used social media, but they've used it to create their world. Well, they've already done that, and I get it. That's a blueprint on how to do that. But when you're actually at the show, they're working on doing their stuff. They're talking wrestling ideas, and I don't really, we just have a polite thing, but we have a polite little chat. Hello, how you doing? That's it. But I know that we're with our group of friends talking wrestling, talking about creating what they can do in whatever form it is. They are not playing video games. They are not texting their friends who have nothing to do with wrestling on a day that they're in the wrestling. They have got there by hard work, right? So that bit is something that I'm about. When I came to WCW, that was me and Chris were like, like, what are these? Why are they leaving the shows early? And Bill Watts had to actually put on a stop people leaving the shows, but that didn't matter because they still weren't watching the matches. There's very few shows that I've ever been on that I haven't watched the whole show, and if I have, I've told somebody why I've had to leave.
Right.
Right. When I was in the WWE for many years, you could always guarantee Undertaker would always be there when he was there.